Bushcraft 412, and today I want to talk about the Russian Mosin Nagant M44. I picked this rifle up probably about 5 years ago at a gun show, and back then these guns, I actually bought this for $79. They had the crates of these things. There's probably 7 or 8 crates of them, and you could just rummage through them and pick them, you know, based on the quality. Some of them were pretty dinged up and in bad shape, and some of them were in great shape. And they had the ones with the laminated stocks, which is what this is, for $79, and they had the unlaminated stocks for $59. So, I mean, back then it was, how do you go wrong? How do you not buy this gun? So I bought it with no research into the reputation or anything, and just kind of went on a whim, and actually it's been one of the best money purchases I've ever made with a rifle. Let's talk real quick about history. And I know if this stuff kind of bores you, just zip ahead a couple minutes here in the video. The M44 is a shortened version of the M9130, made by the Russians, World War II era. This particular model is a carbine, which is a shortened version, designed for street combat, World War II era, like I said. The original models this is based around came out in the early 1900s and has evolved. This particular model was manufactured from, if I remember right, around 1943 to 1948. And this is an earlier model, M44, and I'll show you a few things that identify that as we go along through the video and we go through the details. But I just wanted to put it out there. These rifles were used by the Russians. Millions of these are in circulation. These are not rare guns by any means at all. You can get them at gun shows for very cheap. You can also get them at a lot of sporting goods stores. They're starting to carry them now, because I believe Century Arms is starting to import them and sell them, and I see a lot of them marked as Century Arms in the sporting goods stores. They typically come with the rifle itself, usually an old canvas sling like what you see attached to mine, as well as a tool kit, which includes the headspace tool, which is something you absolutely need if you're going to take the bolt apart, because you need a thing to measure the firing pin when you put it back in. As you can see with this, I'll show you when we bring this up. This one comes with a cleaning rod built into it. I got mine, and mine was covered with Cosmoline. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with military surplus arms, it's a sticky preservative they put on guns when they're being stored long term to keep them from being damaged. This gun was just caked. I took this thing apart head to toe, scrubbed everything, took the bolt apart, which I've only taken the bolt apart once, and it was that initial time, and I gave it just the cleaning of a lifetime, and now everything works perfect. The gun takes 7.62 by 5.4 rimmed ammo, which 5 years ago was pretty tough to get, and now it's getting more and more common. You can buy the military surplus tins of like 440 rounds for in the neighborhood of like $80 to $100, and that's corrosive ammo. Just as a reminder, so you do have to clean the gun thoroughly after you fire it, because it's very corrosive. There are a few companies making now sport rounds for this gun. I believe Silver Bear makes them, Brown Bear, a few other companies as well are starting to come around and make these. Originally when I bought this gun, they were like in the neighborhood of like $20 to $25 for 20. Nowadays you can get, I believe, the Silver Bears for around $8 or $9 from places like Cheaper Than Dirt and Cabela's. You just gotta watch for sales. So the ammo is pretty readily available. I mostly shoot military surplus through this bad boy and never had any problems with it. Overall, for $79, this is the best $79 rifle you're ever gonna get. It fires every time. This is pretty much a 308, equivalent to a 308. Even with the iron sights, accuracy at 100 yards is good enough where I can line up bowling pins, and it's the rare exception that I don't hit one. So it's definitely accurate enough to hunt with. A lot of people do use this as a cheap deer gun, and there's definitely no problems with that whatsoever. We're going to go into a few little things as we go along, but there's your overview of the gun. I know these guns are, a lot of controversy when you read about these. A lot of people say they're, you know, a great battle rifle. A lot of people disagree. The Grand is a much better battle rifle, etc., etc. I think this is just a great rifle for if you are new to guns. This is a great trainer. This is a great gun to be something you have. Maybe if you have younger guys who are getting into shooting and you want to teach them, this is a great gun to teach them on. Bolt actions are very safe, less likely to have problems than a semi-auto. Great way to start somebody out. And I bought this gun. I literally just wanted this. I saw it. It was $79. I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't resist. All right, so let's pick this bad boy up and start talking about the individual points. On each barrel, there are markings as for what factory and model and all that. We're not focusing the best here. But this one, I can't even pronounce the factory name, but it's the Ishmesh, IZHMES, whatever factory. So you're going to have specific markings. You can look up what your markings mean. This is just the sickle and hammer, the Russian sign. The M44 is different from the M38 in that it has an integral bayonet. This is permanently affixed. You can get them off. You can punch them off, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're really kind of taken away from the rifle. If you want one without, get an M38. They do come without them. And one of the ways I know this is an earlier model M44 is actually the bayonet lug. This little kind of hook design here you see in it, where it comes down in hooks, that's a sign that it's an earlier model M44. As well as the sights. We're gonna do, I hate to do this, I'm pointing at the camera, but no other way to do it. The fact that the sights are flush with the mounting also says it's early M44. If that was kind of curved at like a weird angle instead of being straight, that would indicate that it's later. But being these are straight, early model. Since we're on the sights, let's talk about sighting this bad boy in. In order to sight this in, you actually have to do it with a punch, and you can see the separation line right there. You have to take a punch and move this thing left or right depending on where you want to do it. I've resighted this gun in because these guns are meant, let me pull the bayonet out. These guns are meant to be fired with the bayonet out. They're the harmonics of the barrel, they're sighted in like this. So if you want it to hit dead on, you're going to have to move that front post and adjust it to having the bayonet down. So I've already done that. I've adjusted the sight, and this is dead on at 100 yards with the bayonet down. So it did take a couple taps with the pin to get it to adjust right. Likewise, you have a leaf rear sight. You can adjust this. It has markings from 1 to 1,000 yards, and this will adjust for elevation, or for distance, excuse me, for how far away you are from the target. Luckily mine came dead on. I know some people do have theirs are not accurate and they've had to replace the front sight, but I guess I just got lucky with mine. I know another thing, optics. A lot of people take these and put optics here. They basically punch out the rear sight, and under all this I guess is a dovetail where you can mount a scope with dovetail rings. It's nothing I'm ever interested in doing. I want to keep this as it is. I like it just the way it is. I don't need a scope on it. But some people do choose to do optics on these. And I just want to let you know there are some options out there for doing that. One of the problem areas with this gun is the bolt. Number one, the safety is almost impossible to use. You have to pull it back and then turn it, but once you enable the safety, it's almost impossible to get it off one-handed. So I very rarely use mine. I use it mostly just for storage. And another problem with these guns. A lot of people have problems with these guns with the bolt sticking. As you can see, mine, even when it fires, is very nice. My bolt is nice and perfect. I have absolutely zero problems with the bolt. Love it. A lot of people, it's not the case, so I've read a lot of complaints about people having issues with the bolt being too tight and sticking. Likewise, triggers. I've read a lot about the Mosin Nagant triggers, and a lot of people complain about them. Well, we'll show you first. As you can see, this has a little bit of play to it. I'm not going to pull it. I hate dry firing guns, but once you get past that little bit of play, this gun has a very light trigger pull. Very happy with the trigger pull. Makes this a very accurate gun. I guess I lucked out when I picked this one, because there are, like I said, there's a lot with sticky bolts, there's a lot with really bad stiff triggers. Mine just happens to have the best of both worlds. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about with this gun? Oh yes, internal clip, as you can see, holds 5 rounds. You can also use stripper clips to load it. Because it is rimmed ammunition, you do have to be careful about loading, because you don't want the rims to overlap the wrong way. When you line them up, you want to make sure you have one rim, then another rim, then your next rim will want to go on that side of that, so that you're not having like a rim here, and then your next one would be like that. You don't want to lock them in like that. You want to make sure they're lined up one after another like a set of steps. So I know that is another issue, but I've never had any problems with the stripper clips. They load right in. So accuracy wise, like I said, a couple inches at 100 yards with iron sights. No reliability problems. The stock's laminated, very good, weatherproof, hard stock. This gun can be completely broken down in no time. You have some barrel bands on the end to take off the foregrip, but other than that, this is a great little gun, and if you're interested in getting a kid into shooting or someone new, this is a great gun for them to learn on. The only thing is this gun kicks like a mule, so you definitely want to make sure if it's someone new they're ready for it. But that's it for the M44. Hope you enjoyed the video.